What's up, positive bitches? How are we doing today? If you are hearing this episode, then you are meant to be here, so keep listening. On that Bitches Positive podcast, sometimes we will laugh, other times, baby girl, we're gonna cry, but we will always walk away feeling our most empowered, positive bitch self. That is Babe in true connection with herself. On this podcast, we unbecome who we are not so we can fully step into exactly who we came here to be. Today, we are talking about how to reclaim your own reality by reclaiming your damn brain and understanding your intuition. I know as well as anybody else that there is a whole ton of things going on in the universe right now. A lot of energy is moving around. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and we have to learn how to be discerning of our own reality. And whether it's politics or who you're dating, you need to be plugged into not Brad and Harry, but yourself, so you can make the right decisions for you and really create a life that you want to live within. So we're going to talk about how to essentially increase our psychic and intuitive abilities so that we can use our discernment, yes, that's a gift from God that we all need to tap into, to ultimately not only create the life we want, but avoid unnecessary human traps. That's what I'm going to call them. Human traps sent by the devil. Before we get into it, a couple of announcements. If you are not following me on Instagram at Vibin with Cece and at That Bitch Is Positive, be sure to follow me there for daily tips and tricks on how to tap into your most magnetic energy. These links will be in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, it will be in the bio. If you've not yet gotten your copy of Show Up As Her, my book, sis, what are you doing? If you want to learn how to magnetize your energy, how to use positive manifestation, and how to create a life that you truly desire, then you're going to want to get Show Up As Her, because it will teach you how to do all of that and more. And last but not least, I recently released a song, Pudding. This will help you shift your frequency back so you are on your pedestal, back to a high vibration, and back to you remembering who the F you are. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today will be a rant with tips, if you so will. So, we have had a lot of things going on in the political realm lately, and it's like every day we're waking up and we're saying, damn, we're living through yet another monumental part of history that is going to be in our children and our grandchildren's textbooks. And this might be overwhelming you, but let me just remind you, your light and your energy, you're meant to be here during this time. You are meant to experience this reality during this time. So if you are getting overwhelmed by anything going on in mass media or politics or just culture at large, feel free to unplug from it, but also remember you came here to experience these things, and instead of getting stuck into the fear brain, into survival, into the ego, let's get excited, because this is what we came onto the planet for, to live through this huge transformation. Many people who are channelers, people like Dolores Cannon, who was a hypnotherapist, she interviewed so many souls across the world, and they said, why is it so important to be here during this time? And they frequently reference something called the Great Harvest. And I truly believe that is what we're going through right now. The Earth's electromagnetic frequency is uplifting. We are all going through awakenings. We are uplifting. If we want to get to a higher vibration as a collective, we have to release all of the lower vibrational energy. It's like when you wring out a towel, if you want to get that towel dry, you got to let go of the dampness. You got to wring it out. So we are right now wringing out a lot of lower vibrational emotions, whether it be on an individual level like codependency, or at large, learning that, wait a second, maybe the matrix doesn't operate how I thought it did. We are really opening ourselves up to a new earth. And in order to get that new earth, we have to run up against some resistance. Remember, it's not that the mountain gets easier, you actually just get stronger. while all of these things are unfolding, and let me just tell you, we're just getting started, baby. It's an election year. We're just getting started. The craziness is only going to get up-leveled and up-leveled and up-leveled, but that doesn't mean you have to follow the crazy. What sparked my idea for this episode is the fact that I was watching the news because it happened to be on, and I heard Biden call in to congratulate Kamala. But when I heard him speaking, I go, oh, that's AI. And my mom was like, really? I was like, that's 100% AI. I know what AI sounds like. I think because the younger generation, Gen Z, we're brought up with technology. Technology is almost like a living entity. We are so tuned into it that we instinctively know how to use an iPhone. We instinctively know how to use new technology. And I also believe we instinctively can hear AI when AI is playing. And I'm not here to tell you, oh, vote this way, vote that way. I'm not doing that. What I'm here to do is to invite you to not think what I think, but to think for yourself. I want you to use your own intuition to figure out, should I go this way? Should I go that way? What feels like it's in alignment with me? Okay? Because we have been consistently lied to since we've been on this planet. Let's just take a moment of silence for that. Whether it's our parents telling us about the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, or it's our school's textbooks, we have not gotten the full picture. And the only way to do that is to go out on a quest for information on your own. This is truly a solo individual journey that you must take. You'll meet people along the way, but this is something you have to go out and look for. We need more now than ever to be so tuned into our own intuition that we can understand the real from fake, that we can understand what it is that we actually believe, not just what we're being told to believe. Remember, if we do not use our brain, another entity will. If you do not use your brain, something else will. Who is going to drive you? You or mass consumerism, culture, society? Who's going to drive you? You have to reclaim your own brain, your little neurological pathways, your reality. You cannot just drift into this universe, because if you're drifting, you will be on someone else's leash really quickly. Before we get into how to raise your intuitive abilities and how to become more psychic, I do want to talk about a little bit more why it's so important that we do this. And we're going to be referencing the book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. This is a book we've discussed before on episode This Will Change Your Life. He talks about how if you do not consciously take control of your own brain, another entity will. Full stop. If you are not guarding your mind, you will have no control over it. Most of us are being lied to. Okay, fine, but we're believing everything we're being told. Yeah. I am a big proponent of the law of correspondence. And this states as above, so below. And I'm getting goosebumps right now. I truly think everything that's going on right now is boiled down to good versus evil. That's it. It's just energy. It's an energetic war, baby. That's all. And how good and evil expresses itself through the 3D realm that we reside in will look different on a daily basis. Good can express itself through a mother loving their child. Bad can express itself through violence. But at the end of the day, regardless of the action that's being taken in the 3D realm that we can see and that we reside within, at the end of the day, when we boil it down, it's just good versus evil. Because there's multiple realms, and each realm is corresponding to another realm. This is also why we must be led by our spirit and not by sight, because we are limited to our 5 senses. Just because we can't see something or smell it or taste it or touch it doesn't mean that it's not alive and well and at work in this universe. We are so limited. I always reference when I take my contacts out, everything looks blurry. Is that because the world is blurry, or is that because I'm limited? It's because I'm limited. The other day, I was journaling and then I started to channel. And this is a technique called automatic writing, which I'm going to give you more information on how to actually do that by the end of this episode. But what came through to me, and it's just God, I love when God speaks through me because it's so simple, but it's great reminders. What came through to me is your eyes may deceive you, but your spirit will set you straight. Your eyes, because they're part of your flesh, are subject to manipulation by the dark forces of this world. Listen, baby girl, I don't care if you call the dark forces of this world the devil, Satan, or just dark forces. It doesn't matter. You can just call it evil. It doesn't matter. There is polarity in this universe. There is good and there is bad, and we need to recognize it. There is a part of the Bible, and what it talks about is if you want to be able to win the battle, you have to know the enemy. You have to know who you're fighting against. How can you win a battle when you don't even know who you're fighting? How can you beat your opponent when you don't know who the hell your opponent is? How can you do that? You can't. You need to be so learned. You need to be in your own spirit. You need to be reading. You need to be awake. You got to be tapped in, tuned in, baby. You got to be, or else you will drift with the devil. So what I was channeling is, because our eyes are part of our flesh is open to manipulation by the dark forces of this universe. That's why sometimes our feelings, they lie to us. Our attachment system, that's sometimes our ego. It's our nervous system. Those things aren't always accurate because they're not of the spirit. They're of the flesh, which is open to manipulation. This is why we must walk again by faith and not sight. Sight is a deceiver. The 3D reality that we exist within is delayed. Why is this? Because everything first manifests in spirit. Everything first manifests energetically before it solidifies into the 3D realm. So before you get that dream career or that dream relationship, you must first become the energetic equivalent of it. It manifests in energy before it can manifest in 3D physical form. So the 3D is delayed. If I am to just focus on the 3D, I'm going to knock myself out of vibration. I'm going to tell myself, oh no, it's not coming, it's not coming. Let me break this down for you. Let's say that I am wanting a marriage. I don't know, that I want marriage. So I will look at my 3D reality and I'll say, well, my partner's not here yet. My marriage is not here yet. It must not be coming. I hate my life. Everything sucks. Blah, blah, blah. The more I look at my 3D through my eyes, the more I deceive myself, the more I'm lying to myself. Why? Because the 3D is delayed. And if I walk by sight instead of faith, I'm actually blocking myself because it's open to manipulation. If I want to have that marriage, that family, whatever it may be, chickens, a cow, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I have to walk by faith. And how do I do that? I tap into my intuition. I tap into my energy. I remember that everything is manifesting first energetically. Not everything is as it seems. There is so much work going on behind the scenes. We have to remember, just because something's not on our radar does not mean it's not on the radar of the electromagnetic field we reside in. Just because something is not on our radar does not mean that it's not on God's radar. We know that a captain of a ship has a whole entire radar. Why? Because sometimes things are not going to be in his line of vision, but there might be a rock over there that the radar is going to catch on to. We can't see everything. We're limited by our 5 senses. We can't see everything. Our ceiling is God's floor. We can't see everything. We don't know everything. So don't let your 3D deceive you. Don't let your eyes deceive you. Don't even let your feelings deceive you. Because there are feelings from the ego and there are feelings from your intuition, and these are not the same. You must walk by faith and not sight, by spirit and not sight. Put your trust in the Lord, your God, and your internal vision, and everything will come to fruition. Forget what you see and just be. And what I understood from forget what you see and just be is that instead of focusing on what you see, on what you see, on what you see, and there's 222 on my clock right now, confirmation, hello. Instead of focusing on what you see, become, be the energetic match. Become the equivalent in energetic form. Walk by faith. If God gave you a vision, baby girl, you better follow that vision. I don't care what the naysayers of the world tries to tell you. I don't care what culture tries to tell you. I don't care what society tries to tell you, okay? You keep going. You move forward. You glue yourself to that vision like your life depends on it, because by the way, it does. No one can make you as happy as you can make yourself when you follow the vision God gave you, the vision that God put on your heart. You came here, and one day you're going to have to meet God, and you're going to have to say, God, I either followed through with that vision, or God, I was a little bitch and I didn't do anything that you told me to do, and I didn't follow my vision, and I let fear overtake me. No, what a waste of an incarnation. Who has time for that? I think not. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Period. Anyway, I wanted to talk about outwitting the devil because it's time that we do. How about that? Like, I can't have us in an election year getting just down in the dumps. Now, let's turn to our brother, Napoleon Hill, and let's see what little Napoleon has to say. Do your own thinking on all occasions. The fact that human beings are given complete control over nothing, save the power to think their own thoughts, is laden with significance. What he's saying is the fact that we have total control over our own thoughts, there is significance within that alone. That is where our focus should be. We can pick our thoughts like we pick our clothes. We can pick our thoughts like we pick our friends. We can pick our thoughts like we pick our own lipstick. We have so much more control over our own thoughts than what we think. Now, of course, if we're opening the gates of our mind to negative people, if we're around negativity, if we're watching negativity, then our thoughts are going to go down to a lower vibration because we're going to become the energetic equivalent of what we're surrounding ourselves with. However, it's so important that every single day you're checking in with yourself. What am I allowing myself to think? What are my thoughts doing? And you might be thinking, Cece, girl, like, it's hard to police every single thought. Okay, so look to what you're feeling, because every thought you have will have a biochemical reaction in your body. How are you feeling on a daily basis? Down in the dumps? Good? Grateful? Faithful? What are you feeling? Because your feelings will be a bridge to your thoughts. Check in with what your feelings are feeling like, and they will show you exactly what your thoughts are doing. And when you notice a negative thought, you're going to take a pause. You're going to tell yourself, I don't want to feel this way. And if I don't want to feel this way, I got to think a new way. What's a better feeling thought? And move towards that. Let's say you're going through a transformation, you're going through a change. Instead of telling yourself, I'm in the unknown, I'm so fearful, you're going to tell yourself, I'm graduating to the next chapter of my life, baby. I'm graduating to a higher vibration. I'm graduating to the next big thing. Now that's exciting. Now that gets me going. It doesn't put my panties in a twist. No. It makes me feel alive. And just in case you need a reminder, you are alive, okay? You should not just be surviving every day. You are alive. So let's shift from survival to thrival, shall we? Okay, another thing that I want to talk about from Napoleon is the fact that he said, recognize that your brain is a receiving set that can be attuned to receive communications from the universal storehouse of infinite intelligence to help you transmute your desires into the physical equivalent. This has to do with the fact that we are connected to something so much larger than just ourselves. The fact is, we can tap into the ether. We can tap into our spirit team. We can tap into these ascended masters, and they will help us understand our current circumstance, our current emotions, what's going on in the world. When I let my ego tell me what's going on, I think, oh my God, there's so much chaos in this 3D physical realm. There's so much negativity when it comes to dating, when it comes to politics. Oh my God. But then I remember my intuitive pull. I tap back into my meditation practice and I remember all is unfolding for a divine plan. We are raising the collective consciousness, and in order to do that, we need to dry out all those lower vibrations. I remind myself of the truth by tapping into myself, which connects me to my higher self, which connects me to God, which connects me to the universal truth of a greater, bigger plan. You got to check in with that eyesight, baby girl. Shift from your current perspective to a higher perspective. See yourself from your higher self's point of view, because she'll give you insight into what's going on. She'll help you zoom out and help you understand that what you're going through right now is for now. It's not forever. Another important point is recognize the truth that fear generally is a filler which the devil occupies the unused portion of your mind. It is only a state of mind which you can control by filling the space it occupies with faith in your ability to make life provide you with whatever you demand of it. So again, we're just recognizing that if we're in this fearful state, we just need to retune ourselves into a faithful state. And the way we can do that is by tapping into our intuitive abilities rather than relying on the government or the news or blah, 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 whoever else trying to tell us something. We gotta tap back into what our soul is trying to tell us, what our intuition is trying to tell us, what our spirit team is trying to tell us. How do we increase our intuitive abilities? We need to make more space and create more silence so we can actually hear what it is we're trying to say to our damn selves. This means more time in nature. You can do something called earthing, which is literally just taking off your shoes and walking on planet Earth, connecting to Mother Earth, feeling the electromagnetic pulse of Mother Earth. Earthing, walking in nature. You can do a trail. You can do a meditation. You can just put on a frequency, a third eye frequency. Do a meditation outside. How can we tap into our intuitive abilities? We have to create space. We need to create more silence. Instead of constantly absorbing information, media, narratives, we need to start connecting to our own internal world. Another thing that I find really helpful is accessing our dream state. So when we go to sleep, our heart still pumps for us, our brain is still working for us, our body's still working for us. Just because we're sleeping doesn't mean that our body stops operating. Although we're not consciously aware of it because we're in a dream state, there's a lot of messages that come through our dreams. When we're asleep, we enter a more relaxed state. The left side of our brain, the control center, goes to sleep itself, and our right brain is like wide open. And we're able to get creative ideas. We're able to connect to other realms. We're able to connect to deeper truths, emotions that maybe we've been holding on to and haven't had time to process during the day. I literally created a dream journal that I use every day. You can find this in my show notes, but you can use any journal. It does not have to be mine. And just put it next to your bed, okay? Put it next to your bed, and before you go to sleep, say aloud to yourself so your subconscious mind hears you. I will recall what I dream about tonight, and it will give me insight into blank. It will give me insight into what to do next with my life. It's going to give me insight into my relationship. It's going to give me insight into what I need to heal. This is something you have to practice. It's like yoga. It's a practice. But the more you practice it, the easier it will become. If when you're waking up, you're like, Cece, I can't remember a damn thing. When you wake up, immediately do like a 10-minute meditation, and that will even help you recall what happened during your dream state. Another way to tap into your intuitive abilities is to try something called automatic writing. And essentially, this is when you channel information not from your own brain, but from your spirit team. So I remember the first time I ever did this, I was journaling and I was saying like, I feel blah, 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 I. And suddenly, as I was writing, the pronoun switched from I to you. And it started telling me, you're going to do this and you're going to feel this way. And this is what's happening next for you. And I was so flabbergasted that I couldn't consciously connect the dots as to what was happening. And I didn't want to stop. So I just let it go. And I later learned that that's automatic writing. And it wasn't coming from my awareness. It was coming through my body as a channel. But the knowledge, the wisdom, the information I was channeling from my spirit guides of highest truth, love, and compassion. So if you want to try automatic writing, again, this is a practice. I practice journaling for months at this point, but you can speed this up by saying aloud, spirit guides of highest truth, love, and compassion, connect to me now and speak through me. Speak through me so that I may have greater understanding of my current vibrational standpoint. Call on them. Ask them to guide you, to help you, to love you, to nurture you. Now, you're not going to be calling on just any spirit, because just like there's good and bad people, there's good and bad entities, meaning high vibe and low vibe. Okay? So your life is your party. You invite who you want. Be specific. Only spirit guides of highest healing and love connect to me. Spirit guides of highest truth, love, and compassion. My highest vibrational guide. Be really freaking specific. And if you're only comfortable with like Jesus, for example, or the Blessed Mother, then ask them to come to you, connect to you, and allow them to speak through you, and they will help you. Now, I would recommend journaling at least for like 1 to 2 weeks, how you feel every single day. And after 1 to 2 weeks, it will be easier for you to get more and more relaxed, that the channeling will just start to come through you. But practice with just getting your thoughts onto paper. That's even intuitive in itself. Just like analyzing your internal world will help you understand what you're thinking, what you're feeling, instead of just being led by the sheep of the world. I mean, what is anyone even talking about anymore? I truly don't understand. I want to end this podcast by just saying, I don't think we even need to have all the answers right now, and we rarely do. And every time I learn something new, all I think is, wow, there's so much more I have no idea about. I think right now, it's not necessary we have all the answers. I think it's necessary we ask more questions. And that's really what I want to leave you with and invite you to do. Ask more questions. Well, why do I believe what I believe? Well, where is this information coming from? Well, why would they say that? Why would they do that? If this was planned, who would plan it and for what purpose? I always say that asking yourself the wrong questions will lead you into a negative spiral, but asking yourself the right questions will lead you to self-discovery. And usually I'm talking about that in relation to dating, because when we say, well, why aren't I good enough? We're asking ourselves the wrong question. The right question, and this is the flip script principle. You can learn more about that in my book, Show Up As Her. The right question would be, well, why do I want someone who thinks that I'm not enough for them? Maybe I actually am asking for more than they're able to give. We need to be asking ourselves the right questions. And if we want to have a high teachable index, if we want to have an ability to learn, then we have to recognize and humble ourselves and say, I don't know everything. And maybe what I do know isn't completely accurate. And if you ever change your mind, whether it's religion, politics, changing your mind about your beliefs about yourself, or dating, congratulations. We on this podcast are the exact opposite of cancel culture. When you change, we don't cancel you, we celebrate you. So if you're changing, if you're questioning, if you're having an awakening, congrats. And by the way, the awakening process does not stop. I've gone through multiple quote unquote spiritual awakenings, multiple dark nights of the soul. They just keep happening. So we keep rolling with the punches. We learn more. We become stronger. We get wiser. We become better. We get more intuitive. Part of being intuitive in general is just reading more, listening to the right sources, questioning more instead of just believing. I can't cultivate discernment if I just believe everything that I hear. If I want to cultivate discernment, I need to question everything I hear. And guess what? Even question me. Take everything with a grain of salt and do your own damn research. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.